In recent years, Chinese automakers have rapidly moved from obscurity to visibility in the United Kingdom's car market. Electric vehicles, once dominated by European and Japanese brands, are now increasingly associated with new Chinese names. At the forefront is BYD, short for Build Your Dreams, which, as of 2024, has become the world's largest manufacturer of electric vehicles. Despite having entered the UK market only 2 years ago, the brand has already surpassed several household names in sales volume, including Mazda, Mini, Citroën, and Dacia. The scale and speed of this shift are striking. In June alone, BYD sold more vehicles in the UK than each of those 4 brands. When its sales are combined with those of fellow Chinese newcomers Omoda and Jaecoo, launched in August 2024 and January 2025, respectively, the trio matched Audi's UK sales for the month. These milestones suggest a fundamental reshaping of consumer preferences and the competitive landscape. What sets these vehicles apart is a mix of affordability, high-tech features, and generous standard equipment, traits that have struck a chord with British consumers increasingly open to EV ownership. The list of Chinese manufacturers entering the UK does not stop there. Several others, such as Geely, Denza, and Chery, have confirmed their plans to launch in the British market in 2025. Their arrival adds momentum to a broader trend, a growing international push by Chinese automakers to reduce their reliance on a saturated and increasingly fragile domestic market. Back home, China's electric vehicle industry is confronting serious structural challenges. Decades of policy-driven growth, including subsidies, tax breaks, and preferential treatment for EV makers, have resulted in a highly fragmented market. As of 2025, more than 100 Chinese companies are manufacturing electric or plug-in hybrid vehicles. This remarkable proliferation was once seen as a triumph of industrial policy. But now it is becoming clear that the sector may be overbuilt. Analysts warn that China's domestic EV market cannot sustain this level of competition. Though production is projected to exceed 33 million vehicles in 2025, demand is not expected to keep pace. The result has been a steep decline in prices across the industry. Many manufacturers have introduced price reductions exceeding 30% in order to attract buyers and reduce mounting inventories. While this may benefit consumers in the short term, the long-term effects on profitability and business stability are concerning. One company often cited as both a success story and a symptom of the industry's volatility is BYD. The automaker has achieved record sales, delivering over 2.1 million vehicles in the first half of the year, split roughly equally between fully electric models and plug-in hybrids. Having discontinued internal combustion engine models in 2022, BYD is now fully committed to electrification. However, in May of this year, the company initiated its latest round of price cuts, reducing the cost of 25 models across its lineup to address a surplus of unsold stock. The move resulted in BYD's highest monthly sales to date but also reignited a price war among competitors. Other manufacturers responded swiftly, slashing prices to remain competitive. Great Wall Motors, another leading Chinese carmaker, expressed concern about the sustainability of this trend. On May 23, the same day BYD announced its discounts, Great Wall's chairman Wei Jianjun issued a stark warning. He compared the current situation in the EV industry to the financial instability that led to the collapse of the real estate conglomerate Evergrande. He described the automotive sector as having its own Evergrande moment in the making. Wei's comments were not well received by all. 2 days later, BYD's general manager, Li Yunfei, publicly rejected the comparison as unfounded and inflammatory. He accused rival executives of using sensationalism to shift blame and stir public anxiety. Nonetheless, many observers view BYD's dominance, and its pricing strategy, as a key driver of the current turbulence. According to independent analyst Lei Xing, when a company achieves the scale that BYD now commands, it becomes the natural target of scrutiny. He argues that the government is increasingly concerned about what is being referred to in China as involution. Originally a sociological term describing relentless, self-defeating competition among individuals, the term has since been applied to industries where rivals race to the bottom in ways that erode value and productivity. In the context of China's EV market, it suggests that manufacturers are undercutting one another without meaningful gains in innovation or sustainability. Regulators have begun to respond. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has issued statements condemning what it calls disorderly competition. Officials are now signaling their intent to curb destructive pricing tactics that could jeopardize the sector's long-term health. Meanwhile, the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers has called for fairer market practices and more sustainable growth. Despite these warnings, the price war is unlikely to end immediately. Industry analysts suggest that discounting may continue in subtler forms, such as through bundled insurance packages, longer warranties, or interest-free financing, measures that are harder to track but equally impactful in pressuring margins. The financial strain is already visible. Factory utilization rates in China fell to approximately 50% in 2024, marking the lowest levels in more than a decade. With fixed costs remaining high, manufacturers are finding it increasingly difficult to maintain profitability. The consultancy Alex Partners recently forecasted that of the 129 brands currently producing EVs and plug-in hybrids in China, only 15 are likely to remain financially viable by the year 2030. Those 15 survivors are projected to control around 75% of the market, each averaging over 1 million vehicle sales annually. However, consolidation in China may proceed more slowly than in other regions. This is because many EV makers receive strong backing from local governments, which view them as vital to regional employment and industrial development. These ties make it politically challenging to allow underperforming companies to fail, even when market conditions suggest they should. In this context, international markets have become an essential safety valve. For Chinese automakers facing limited room to grow at home, Europe, and particularly the United Kingdom, offers an attractive alternative. Unlike the United States, which maintains steep tariffs on Chinese auto imports, or developing regions where EV infrastructure is still maturing, the UK provides an open and receptive market. Currently, there are no additional tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles sold in Britain, giving manufacturers an important pricing advantage. Still, this exposure comes with risks. Experts warn that steep discounting in China could spill over into export markets. If Chinese brands bring aggressive pricing strategies to the UK, the ripple effects could influence vehicle depreciation rates, used car values, and the profitability of legacy brands competing in the same space. According to Andy Shields, Global Business Unit Director at automotive analytics firm Indicata, Chinese manufacturers will continue to prioritize exports as domestic conditions tighten. However, he notes that pricing decisions abroad will need to be handled carefully to avoid unintended consequences in competitive European markets. For now, the presence of Chinese electric vehicles on British roads is set to expand. Whether this trend represents a new equilibrium or a temporary phase in a turbulent global industry remains to be seen. What is clear is that China's automakers are simultaneously navigating two very different realities: international success driven by product appeal and pricing, and domestic instability fueled by oversupply and unsustainable competition. Their ability to balance these forces will determine not only the fate of individual brands, but the shape of the global EV industry in the years to come.